Why don't you talk to your once best friend anymore? Drifted away through the years, and now we're both too changed to relate to each other. This happened to me and my friend. I miss her but we're so different now it wouldn't be the same. There's a multitude of reasons, but I think it boils down to we were proximity friends. We were friends all through middle and high school, but then college came and we both just went our separate ways. It's not that we didn't try to keep it going. We're still friends and still occasionally get together for lunch, a movie, or just to go for a walk, but I don't think we will ever be best friends again. I don't think that's a bad thing. She's in a great relationship with a wonderful guy and has finally taken back control of her life from overbearing mother. I've moved from the college portion of my life to my professional path. I think that our paths were just destined to split. He got in a relationship with a girl that was perfect for him, but once he got in that relationship, he abandoned all his friends and only talks to her and her friends. This is exactly what I was gonna post. Really sucks how him finding someone who made him so happy could seemingly erase all those years of us being mates. We grew up together all the way to our 30s. I got married and had a child. He got married. We were each other's best man in our weddings. I got divorced. He cut off all communication with me immediately right after. I asked his wife what his freaking deal is and she told me he couldn't deal with seeing me at such a low. For real, I was going through the hardest time of my life. Friends are supposed to help each other out, right? For no reason, right? Because that is what friends do. A 30-year friendship gone. I slowly realized that she just wasn't a nice person. It was such a relief when I finally admitted to myself that I didn't need to waste any of my time around someone who barely thought of anyone but herself. He got sober and kind of ghosted me. I was still drinking at the time, so I get why he wouldn't want to hang out. He just stopped answering my calls. We started to drift apart after school ended. He went for life of academia and I went for life of an alcoholic. I was emotionally somewhat abusive and toxic. He did the right thing for himself and I respect him for it. Found out he had been groping his sister for an extended period of time. Kind of a deal breaker for me. We tried to make it a romantic relationship. Us two. We ruined a perfect friendship for a terribly insecure relationship. If I regret anything, it's saying yes. Over the years he has become just an butthole. That's it. The crappy part is that as I got older and hung out with him less and less, I realized that he was always an butthole. It made him hilarious and edgy when we were in college, but we're heading into middle age and both have kids. Now he's just an butthole with kids. Convinced me to lie for him to cover his tracks when he cheated on his GF. I only agreed because he has a young daughter and I didn't want her to grow up without a dad. After the fact, I realized he always took advantage of my kind-hearted nature and was never really my friend. I was just enabling him to be a crappy bottom feeder. I'm much happier now with him out of my life. It was all for the best. He tried to suck my dong on a fishing boat when we bunked together. I said no. He got offended. We drifted apart. His girlfriend was also a close friend of mine. When I caught him cheating on her, they were engaged. He pleaded with me not to tell her, even though he kept it up. We both started a relationship around the same time and both kind of chose the guy over each other, which I regret. Went to message her on Facebook the other day and she had deleted me. Welp. That makes me angry for you. It's just an imaginary construct of people on a social media site, but it hurts when you realize you were deleted. She started using our friendship as a convenience to use me for favors. Yeah, been there. Dropped her pretty quickly when I took a step back and looked at her motivations for coming over. Stopped doing those things and after 2 times coming over and being denied, she dropped off the face of the planet and hasn't talked to me in a year now. Sad how little people actually appreciate your help. Stole from me. It seems funny to me that someone will throw years of friendship and memories out the window for a little over $100. All he wants to do is play video games. When I try to make plans to do something like hiking or go to the beach, he backs out last second. He has a bad weight problem and has asked me to help, but he'll only follow my advice for 2 weeks before giving up. I told him to cut soda out of his diet and a week later he sent me a Snapchat of him buying a 24-pack of Coke. He got a subscription to the same gym as me and has only shown up once. Whenever he invites me over, it ends up with me being bored while he plays games on his phone or plays League of Legends with his clan. I feel like a bad friend for not wanting to hang out with him anymore, but I feel like I'll lose a day of my life whenever we hang out. Tell him how you really feel about the situation, and if there's no change then you can move on, but if there is change you get your best friend back. She got a boyfriend and started prioritizing him over everything. She would cancel our plans because he was bored. I have a friend who's like this. He expects me to cancel anything and everything when he's bored, and everything he wants to do bores me to no end. Banged my wife. Sounds like you lost two best friends. They may have fricked each other, but they can go frick themselves. She was in a fricked up relationship with a much older guy. I could be here all day if I gave details, but basically he was very emotionally, and I also suspect physically and sexually, abusive. I eventually convinced her to leave him, which she did after multiple attempts. He harassed her for a while after they broke up, and then one day, he just stopped. He never attempted to contact her again. She completely fell apart. Even though she knew he was a bad guy, she desperately wanted him to love her. She had been abused by a family member when she was younger, and I think she associated abuse with love. So when he stopped abusing her, in her mind, he had stopped loving her. She blamed me and cut me out of her life. She told me on my 20th birthday that she would get back together with him, and there was nothing I could do to stop her, and that's the last time we spoke. They never got back together, as far as I know. I hope she managed to get help with her issues and never ends up in a relationship like that again. I truly miss her and wish we were still friends, because we went through so much together. I love her like a sister, and I hope that one day she realizes that everything I did was because I couldn't stand to see her hurt. He married a woman I didn't like, and she slowly turned him into a guy I didn't like. He married a syphilitic horse's dong of a woman, and she turned him into a hollowed out shell of a man like the cancerous prolapsed anus she is. Let it out. Let's see. First, she started dating a guy we had already told her was bad news, and we all had run-ins with him, mine being stalker Y incidents. Then she got pregnant with his child halfway through our senior year. She gave birth that October after graduation. They didn't end up working out, and I'm not sure how it all happened exactly, but she ended up with minority custody and he got majority. I got a call around Thanksgiving my freshman year of college. Her parents had kicked her out, for more unknown reasons, and was going to have to sleep in her car in the cold. I called my mom and made arrangements for her to stay there until she got back on her feet. The agreement was she could stay as long as she needed, as long as she helped my handicapped mom clean around the house and help pitch in money food. Big mistake. She was messy, refused to help around the house, would feign sleep to ignore my mom, let tubs and boxes of her crap take over weird places of the house, and took my emergency iPhone calls when she finally left. She had cops called at our house because she apparently threatened to hurt herself or something, and she was in jail over Christmas because she hit her baby daddy at their son's doctor's appointment, which he wasn't supposed to attend due to the father being present and them having a no contact order. We also caught her lying about going to strange guys' homes that she met online to watch Netflix. More and more risky behavior that the courts will hold over her. Sometime in January she got an apartment with another childhood friend, and it took weeks of bugging her before she would take her stuff she had stored at our house. After a couple months, she tried to tell me our other friend was hosting weird parties and developing a drinking habit, and when I tried to get to the bottom of it, everything came out. She was bringing random creeps to the apartment, then later started hooking up with the baby daddy again despite them still being in affect. She wasn't putting in her share of housework, and she had the cops called on her at a Buffalo Wild Wings or something like that for freaking out. The other friend told their landlord, and the crazy friend was forced to move to the opposite end of the complex. They were separated by the time summer started. It's been over a year and a half since the end of that, and I'm pretty sure my mom still gets court stuff for her in the mail. She fricked my ex-boyfriend. He wasn't yet my ex-boyfriend at the time. I have known him for 8 years, and over the last 3 he has become a hopeless alcoholic. He drinks on average 5/5 a week, and I almost never see him sober. Also yes, his friends, including me, have intervened to no avail, and his family, including his sister who flew up from Chile, have intervened again to no avail. Man, He is going to be dead soon at that rate. She cheated on her boyfriend, who was also one of my closest friends, and then tried to tell everyone that the guy she cheated with uphead her once she worried that people would find out. Then she tried to frick my cousin. T was my best friend ever. She was the only person I ever felt real friend love with, like the kind of love you feel for a partner but platonic. We met working in Wendy's as teens and dabbled in marijuana and such together. I graduated a year before her, and the summer after my graduation she just spiraled out of control. All of a sudden she was snorting ground up caffeine pills. And then H. Where the frick did she get H? She had gotten deeper into a crowd of bad kids we hung out with while I had realized they were crap and trash and had pulled back. Somehow by the end of the summer she was so mentally fricked and these people has poisoned her mind against me so badly that she threw a brick through the rearview window of my car within days of leaving for college. Broke my freaking heart right along with the window, and cost me a fortune I didn't have, wiping through my savings right before I went to school. She went on to spiral deeper into drugs, now has 3 kids by 2 men and is with neither, and lives in relative poverty, still working cashier kind of jobs far as I can tell from Facebook. Once on a liver journal entry she had written about me as teens, saying she hated me for a million reasons but thought I'd go further in life than her. She had already quit then. It broke my heart and still does. We were both kids from disadvantaged families and somehow I got out and she didn't. His girlfriend didn't like the fact that his best friend was a girl, so she made him delete me from everything. She passed away unexpectedly in January. She was my best friend for 22 years. My best friend passed away 3 years ago. Sometimes I just pretend he is at home and I just haven't seen him because I'm busy. 1 died. 1 raided my partner's panty drawer. 1 became a crazy alcoholic. 1 got married and I moved. Not because he got married. Now I have acquaintances because it's easier to get over it. Old childhood friend. She always complained that we never hung out every time we hung out. She complained to my family when she saw them when she was working as a cashier. But she didn't respond to my texts. And eventually she unfriended me on Facebook. I reached out to her 1 more time and she didn't respond. It baffles me but I'm okay with it. We used to go to the same church. She decided to stay in our hometown, get married young, have a lot of kids, and stay in the same church. I decided to go to a Christian college, which she thought was okay as long as it meant that I was going to marry a pastor or something like that. But then she was upset when I later transferred to a secular university and even more upset when I decided not to stay within our Christian denomination. We're actually still friends on Facebook, but she never responds to any messages I send her. I think the only reason she hasn't deleted me is because she wants to spy on me, which is okay with me. I've got nothing to hide. Truthfully, I hope that she has a long and happy life where she is. But if it ends up that she doesn't and her husband goes crazy or something and she reached out to me for help, it'd be a full day's drive, but I'd go get her and her kids pedal to the metal the whole way and bring them up to my place. I've got new friends now and I wouldn't throw any of them under the bus just to help an old friend. But her and I went through some craziness together, and sometimes I wish we still talked. You're a good person. When his girlfriend broke up with him, he began sending subtle hints that he wanted us to be friends with benefits, but that a relationship would never be in the cards. When I didn't agree to it, it became obvious that our whole friendship had been about the excitement of what if. Once that question was answered in real life, the friendship was basically on life support. The nail in the coffin was when he showed up super late to hang out with me, leaving me sitting alone at a restaurant for over 30 minutes, then spun it so I was the villain for being upset that he had been late. That was the last time I saw him. I went to visit him at his college, about 2,500 miles away, and ended up hooking up a few times with a girl in his circle of friends. The next time he came home, he didn't call me or anything, and I ended up seeing him out one night with his new girlfriend from college, the girl I had hooked up with a few months before. I thought it was petty of him to no longer speak to me about it, since he was pretty much the one who set me up with her when I visited. The odd thing is, I lost touch with him after we all moved on, and about 6 years later he called me out of nowhere and asked me to be in his wedding. Different girl. We sort of patched things up, but it was never the same. I haven't seen or talked to him in about 10 years now. I hung around with the same 3 or 4 guys from the end of grade school all the way through college and then some. Pretty much all of them were my best friend at one point or another. But as to why things fizzled out, well, that's simple. We got older, and as we got older our relationships changed. Part of that had to do with girlfriends. Each time one was added and removed from the group, it inevitably altered the dynamics of our friendships. There was cheating. Some people couldn't get along with others, and sooner or later everyone was fighting. But it's not fair to just blame relationships. Education played a part too. Some of us went to college and others didn't. That led to new friends and new social circles. Add careers to the mix, and marriages, and children, and divorces, and funerals, and before you know it, you haven't spoken to your friends in the better part of a decade. And when you do finally get together again, you realize that nothing is the same anymore. Not even you. Your friendship exists only as a memory. She got cool. She plays bass in a successful rock band, has a bunch of piercings and tattoos, works at Rolling Stone, and hangs out with her musician and hipster friends now. I'm still a nerd. D&D is the highlight of my week. I'm a filthy weeaboo who watches more Crunchyroll than Netflix. The most expensive thing that I own is a snazzy dining room table that has a board gaming surface underneath. Basically, we grew apart. We're friends on Facebook, but we have so little in common now that we really only have the past to talk about. D&D is cool. Don't let people tell you otherwise. Rolling dice is always the highlight of my week. Met online when we were 13-14. Friends for almost 10 years. Video games kept us close as we were worlds apart. Met a few times IRL and she was pretty chill. We texted one another more than I care to actually admit to. Were best of friends even during all of our relationships. Didn't really care for romantic relationship until our mid-20s. Joined a new guild and eventually she found someone who piqued her interest. Still didn't care. I enjoyed the friendship. Ton of common interests. They spent pretty much every second with one another. Was completely cut out. When I wasn't able to be online at specific times when he wasn't online, I was the bad guy that didn't want to be friends anymore. 10-year friendship down the drain over not being able to log in at 3 AM to play games. Been a few years now but I do miss her. But not going to become the third wheel to her relationship. Sucks, and I feel like I wasted a lot of time. Hitting played proves it, but that's life. Still don't have a best friend I can really talk to. Feel like I'm past that age now, but it is what it is. He asked my girlfriend for nudes. Pretty good reason, emo. You've been visited by the toothpaste man for good teeth and fresh breath. Comment oh fresh. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check out another video. Or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.